here along this driveway, we're going to be widening it a bit. We're going to come out here approximately 6 feet all the way down, so that's going to get widened. Hi, David Odell with Odell Complete Concrete. We're in Bullhead, Arizona, and we're prepping this driveway addition right here. Got my little CTX 100. This is a multi-part series. This is the third part of a 5-part series. On this side, we're going to be doing the side of adding to the driveway. We're going to also do the side of the garage, and we're going to do a little bit of the courtyard. This is just your basic gray with a broom finish. In part 1, we showed the block wall build. In part 2, we showed the terracotta ashlar stamp in the front courtyard. This part we're going to show the rest of the side yard here. I chose to do a planter or a gravel bed. We're going to do decorative gravel in that little bed along the block wall. And that's just for really drainage purposes more than anything. Just to get water to come out of the side yard, out of the backyard, into the street without having to try to run over the top of the concrete. It can actually run through the gravel. We will show that video too of the decorative gravel install. So we have Eric the chef on the compactor and doing some hand grading here. I over-X'd a little bit, about 5-6 inches, and put a couple inches of road base in here. That way we get a nice compaction. Although this ground's really good, it's just pure sand really. So it's a good base all by itself. You notice how we keep wetting it and recompacting. We want to try to get it to the hardest it can be. We already snapped some chalk lines on here. Now we're gluing some 1/4-inch foam, expansion foam, onto the house. We're gonna glue this on the house, the block, wherever we need to. So that way the new concrete is sitting free and independent, not bound with anything. And that's important, especially on a new construction like this, you know, because you have a lot of things going on, a lot of underground, a lot of foundation work. Then you have backfilling. A lot of times you're not going to get that compaction on the outside where they over-X'd. You're just going to throw it in there and going to walk away. So you need to keep isolation joints basically, or expansion paper. So when stuff does start to settle, it's not going to affect, you know, one or the other simultaneously. You only get one thing getting affected rather than both. Neither one is good though, needless to say, but it happens. Here's your wire mesh going in. This is your rolled wire mesh. A lot easier to transport than the 20x7s that are flat sheets. A little harder to place, but not too bad. So in this mix, 3000 PSI, half dose fiber mesh. I'm doing half pound per yard. This particular pumper right here, it's his first day he's ever ran a pump, and he informed me of that, you know, after he was finished. But I had a feeling of that right from the beginning. If you look the way he's standing hunched over like that, that's a real backbreaker. When you're pumping, you should be stood straight up and let the hose hang down to the ground. That's the main thing. And then also you get a better visual of grade when you're standing upright and looking down. You get an overview of what's going on around you and everything, instead of just crouched over like that. It's back, you know, I mean, you can do it while you're young, but eventually he's going to be trying to stand up straight and he won't be able to. See that hose? He should have that bent way more up, and so he has a more upright position.
Okay, cut.
Got to keep the nozzle down to avoid the splatters, but other than that, you're good. There's some nice splattering, a nice splattering move there. Now we had to cut out the rest of the concrete right here in the front entry because we had a 6-foot wide gate going in. And that's getting all custom made, the wrought iron gate. Also the wrought iron that's going to go on top of that wall, which you can see in the first video of this series. I'm going to catch the wrought iron in the last video installed. I might have to do another walk around once the wrought iron comes in. But I've already got some footage at where they're assembling, and prefabricating it. So it'll be a nice little touch with the welding and grinding of it and how they're cutting it and fabbing it in the shop. Got some of that footage. Here's con rock out of Golden Valley. They're transported up here. I couldn't get it locally, you know, at the right times, but con rock was able to get it done. So I had to go with them because you want to do early pours if you can, especially when you're doing decorative or any kind of flat work that's going to be seen. Like, I mean, for a foundation, you could pour, you know, any time of day you want, because no one's going to ever see it because it's going to get covered. But something like this, where you're going to be looking at it every day, you got to get those early pours in. Here's your dry line going in, snapping off of existing joints. That way we can just line up the joints and make this look like it was all poured as one piece. I do have some rebar dowels. I think I have about 6 dowels that'll keep these 2 pieces of concrete at the same level. Here's another new guy I've tried out right here. He's a little younger than Luis. I had Luis, I have Greg, you know, I have a few different new finishers that, well, Greg I've worked with. He knows what he's doing for sure. He's been doing it a long time. There he is on the knee boards. You can see him up there. So I knew what he was capable of, so I was pretty confident with getting at least one guy that I knew. The other 2, I didn't know about for sure, so it was a risk. So I was kind of overloaded, in other words. I knew that I could carry the weight, you know, if I had to. So that's the way I do it. I either have to know what they're capable of, or if I don't know what they're capable of, I have to at least be able to carry their weight. So that's basically how I do these jobs. All right, so we got a couple new guys. I got the new guy, Kyle. He showed up today. He was an hour late though, but not quite an hour, probably about 30 minutes. We were already poured halfway down the garage, and then he showed up. So I gave him a half-day pay basically on this particular day. He got a ticket on the way, but I didn't see the ticket, but he said he got a ticket. So I assume he did 52 and a 45. Usually you never get a ticket, you know, for 5 or 7 miles over. It's usually got to be 10 plus, typically, what I've noticed anyway. Here's your concrete curing compound going on. This stuff is going to make or break you, really. If you don't put it on, it's going to break you. If you do put it on, it's going to make you. In other words, it's not a crack. That's what this stuff does. It prevents the water from evaporating out of the concrete, so it doesn't get those shrinkage cracks. You know, from out here, the color of the 2 concretes, even though they're probably a year in age difference, this driveway from the addition, very close in color. Even here, the walkway we added on, you really can't see that until you get up real close, that little shade of gray difference. Another year, maybe it'll be exactly the same. Once that wrought iron gate goes in, the double swing gates for the RV and the top of the wall, it's going to look really sharp. We're going to show all that in our next videos. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.